Another question we get asked is, can I meet the tenants? Can I interact with the tenants?
I'm going to try not to have a real sarcastic response to that. No. Or let me not be arrogant and say, why would you want to? Mm-hmm. Tell me, you're hiring us to provide you peace of mind and freedom.
That's right.
And a lot of what we do is recurring tasks that are relatively simple, but that require a degree of skill to be able to handle fierce conversations. And the last thing we want to do is jeopardize your investment or your time or your peace and serenity by having the door opened up for that tenant to reach out to you directly. Now, if we're not doing our job and that tenant reaches out to you and needs to light a fire on that, that's a different story, right? And both TJ and myself are available. Okay. Yes. So that's also why during onboarding, you get the general manager, there's a property manager, right? Property managers, if they don't last forever, people leave careers and move things around and balls can get dropped. But for the most part, there's not a reason why a landlord would need to review an application. We will share a credit score. We will share criminal. Mm-hmm. Okay. We're not getting into names. We're not doing anything that could jeopardize anything with any type of fair housing. Okay. And we also tend to steer away from the properties where the owners are living at. I live downstairs and I want to rent upstairs. That can be really tricky. That can be tricky. We have those scenarios and we will leverage our decade of experience to educate the landlord on what to say, what not to say. Their landlord's name is going to be on the lease. Because that's required, but for the most part, no. There's doesn't mean that we doesn't show a rent roll with all the tenants' names and who's late and who's not, and how many NSFs have there been, and what's the security deposit, and what's the prepaid final. If a landlord wants to go above and beyond for a tenant, we offer the ability to do gifts annually to the tenants around the holidays, and that's a great way where we can offer some goodwill to the residents and say, here you go.
Yes. Yeah. And to your point, like at the most basic level, the reason it's a challenge is because then they kind of play that mommy daddy game, right. That if they don't like what the management company says, well, then I'll go to the owner and maybe then I can get what I want. And then it just opens up a can for a communication nightmare.
Yes.
Quite frankly. And